Bum 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 bum. The Peter Shit Show. Bum 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 bum. All right. Yesterday, I proposed the idea that we could have a long weekend every week without having to give up a work day. Right? We could still work 5 days and take a 3 day weekend. A lot of people don't seem to see that solution. Every time there's a discussion on 3 day weekends, it always, pretty much always, involves a 4 day work week. And then there's a lot of resistance to that, right? Personally, I wouldn't, even if I could make the same amount of money working 4 days a week, I might not like it actually, because I do a lot of creative work. A lot of those things require a rhythm to it. I don't think I would be nearly as productive on a 4 day work week. It's not even about how much I can make or what I can do. But what I find really sickening is that every time I make this suggestion, people get very narrow minded. And you know what's really interesting? It seems like the more educated the person hearing this, the less they're willing to accept this. They get so locked in. We're not educated anymore, we're indoctrinated. I have much better luck convincing a 5-year-old child how we could have an 8 day week, more so than somebody with a PhD or even a medical doctor. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. I've talked to all sorts of people about this, and heck, I probably have better luck convincing a homeless person on the street than somebody with an advanced degree. I'm not kidding about this, right? So yesterday, I was telling one of my former classmates, he actually has two PhDs, about this concept. We had just been talking about what we were doing during Memorial Day, and I asked him, how would you like it if we had a long weekend every week? And he said he would, but he has a lot of work to do. And I said, well, can we work 5 days and take 3 days off? Yeah, but where are we going to get that eighth day? Are we going to rearrange our days or any or what are we going to do? Where are we going to get the days from? Right? It would be confusing and all that. No, you would work 5 days and then take 3 days off, right? It's really that simple. Forget that the days even had names to them, right? You work 5 times when the sun comes up, and the next 3 times the sun comes up, you take the day off, right? Just think of it like that, right? And so he still got confused when I said it that way. He still got confused. He was like, well, the next thing he said kind of made a little bit of sense. How am I going to do my other activities, like go into various errands or something? Yeah, the whole world would have to shift at one point. Yeah, that's a legitimate concern, right? How do we get everybody to go on board at the same time? That might be a legitimate concern. But the idea of where we're going to steal the day from. And then my classmate said something that was also a little bit close-minded. He said, yeah, but there would be fewer days, fewer weeks in the year. And here's the thing. Why do you have to think about the year? Right? So let me give you an example. I love making New Year's resolutions, but I wanted to make them more frequently than once a year to kind of check in on myself. So I have a new calendar system. Instead of every time the Earth going around the sun as 1 year, I use the half-life of polonium 210 as my year. And I began year zero on July 18, 1898, when polonium 210 was discovered. So we just celebrated New Year's Day 335 on that system, and I get to make resolutions more often. I actually just turned 100 years old on my calendar, and so you don't have to think of the every time the Earth goes around the sun as 1 year where you have to accomplish something, right? So yeah, there would be fewer number of weeks in the year. But you know what? There might not be fewer number of weeks in your lifetime, because now that you're less stressed about your work, you might actually have the same or even more number of weeks in your lifetime under this system, right? This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum.